Okay, so I'm going to start my next 10-minute video. So the pinky, I misspoke, I just realized earlier that the pinky has its own styloid process, not pinky, sorry, the ulna. And it's the bony prominence right there, it kind of just sticks out. And then the radius has its own styloid process that sticks out right here. And the head of the radius is this part up here, because it doesn't have that olecranon, the hook that the ulna does. So this is the head of the radius. The radial tuberosity is this on the inside. It's like a little projection, so it's like an attachment site for tendons and ligaments to attach onto to make it stronger, and so the bone doesn't break off. And then, like I said, the styloid process is this bony prominence right there. So now we're going to move on to the carpus, which is our hands. I'm going to move this over so I can see my list of things I have to talk about. Okay, so we're going to talk about the actual individual names of the hand. So if I am holding my hand like this with the skeleton, the carpus are these little bones all in here. So we're going to go from lateral, so on the outside, to medial. So you have the scaphoid. It goes this, I guess closest to goes scaphoid, lunate, triquetrial, and then pisiform, the tiny one over here. And then we have trapezium, I believe. Yeah, trapezium is more down here. You can't really see them on the skeleton. So you have your trapezium, trapezoid, capitate, and hamate. So in order to form this wrist joint, you have to have the radius, the ulna, and all these carpus. So the one that articulates the most is the radius. This one sits right there on the carpus bones, with the first row of the carpus, so the scaphoid, lunate, triquetral, and the pisiform bone. And so that is what makes the wrist. The ulna obviously articulates, but it doesn't give that. You can see how this kind of has that U shape to kind of sit those wrist bones right in there to get the flexion and extension in there. And then, which bone forms a joint with the pollex? So the pollex, as we know, is the thumb. So which bone forms a joint with the pollex? And that will be the radius. You see, like that. The radius and the scaphoid and the trapezoid and then trapezium are all kind of like in that bone, in that thumb area. Point out the metacarpals and phalanges. So the metacarpals are the first set of, I guess I'm supposed to start with skeleton, right? The first set, metacarpals. So you have the carpals, metacarpals is the first, like, until the first knuckle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the phalanges are our last two bits of fingers, so these ones. Oh, sorry, I misspoke. My bad. So actually, so you have your carpals, metacarpals are actually still part of the palm. So we have our wrist joint, metacarpals. These are all the phalanges, like the ones I can actually, the individual fingers and thumbs. Okay, next we're going to go on to the pelvic girdle. This is going to be a fun one. So we have our coxal bone. So the coxal bone is essentially the coccyx, the very tail end of our tailbone. Hold the skeleton now. And we're going to talk about the pelvic girdle. So the pelvic girdle, or hip girdle, attaches the lower limbs to the axial skeleton. So it's this whole thing right here. You got your hips and your tailbone and your acetabulum or acetabulum, however you want to say it. So when we're talking about the pelvic girdle, it articulates with the femur and the coccyx and the sacrum, all right here, and then the symphysis pubis, the cartilage right in the front right there. So that is our pelvic girdle, and it's really strong, especially when girls have to give birth. It helps. So point out the approximate borders of the three bones that fuse during development of the skeleton to form the coxal bone. So it's just a little tail right here, like I pointed out earlier. Not super easy to see, but it's just very tip right there that's all fused. This whole one is fused, but this is the sacrum. And the coccyx is this bottom, just tail right there. So the acetabulum, like I said earlier, is this little fossa right there, that nice little hole for the head of the femur to sit in, the symphysis pubis, one of the front. Or obturator foramen. So foramen is an opening or a hole. So that is talking about these guys. These are the holes. Next one is iliac crest. So iliac crest is just this guy up here at the top. It's like the crest of our hips. Next one is anterior superior iliac spine. So anterior superior iliac spine is this thing right here. So it kind of like our anterior coming forward, and it's a bony prominence right here, right there. Iliac fossa. It's this nice smooth surface right here. The greater sciatic notch is greater sciatic notch. What is that? Oh yeah, it's just this guy right here. So if we're looking at the side view, not this side. The greater sciatic notch is just this, the notch right here, the underneath. You can see that. It's right there. Then we have the ischial spine. So the ischial spine is just down here because of the ischium. So the ischial spine, let me make sure I'm pointing to the right one. Yeah, it's just these little projections right here. Ischial spine is right here. And then last one is the ischial tuberosity. And the ischial tuberosity is more towards the bottom. And it's kind of like right here, where just things can attach to. I need to take another break because I'm almost at 10 minutes.